Hi everyone, welcome back to my studio. So today I decided to start painting from the stage when I already have done blocking, and I will explain what I did and what paints I used. So I have these beautiful roses from the garden that don't last very long, and I decided to do a quick blocking before they die and capture all the colors and then explain. So really I did everything with this one brush. It's synthetic brush because it glides really well on this surface. It's primed by myself MDF board with 2 layers of Gamblin oil ground. So I use synthetic brush because it doesn't matter on this surface, it's really smooth. So I took first I did transparent red oxide and green. I used viridian. I blocked my greens, as you can see, and then I blocked a little bit in the glass vase. It's just a regular jar, not even a vase. So I used that one, and I did, before blocking, I did silhouette, and actually this is my paper towel. You can see these are the colors. It's like a palette. So anyway, I'll explain which colors. So on the darker rose I used try not to show with my finger. I used darker area. When I squint I see the middle of the rose. It's quite dark and dark on this side, so it's kind of like a half ball shape. So this rose is half fully open. So I did alizarin, and I did a little bit of ultramarine, a little bit transparent red oxide. So, and then for more warmth in the area where warmer, I added a little bit of cadmium red light. And then I did this actually 3 roses. So these 2 roses, this and this, they're slightly cooler. They're more like, have even kind of lilac violet color in them. So I cooled down my mixture of alizarin and ultramarine for slightly bluish, and also I added a tiny bit of this, a secret color. It's not really secret, but I use for roses. It's called quinacridone rose. Sometimes it also comes as permanent rose, so I have it in both versions. And also for cooler pink you can use permanent magenta. So I used these colors just depending, so because this I'm going to work a little bit more, and you will see that it will go even a little cooler, more purplish. So what else I did? So these 2 roses, and this rose also was from the same I have actually a few different types of roses here. That's one thing I forgot. So this rose was from the same bush, but it was tiny bit pinker because it wasn't as dead as the other ones. So I used this rose, and I think this, if I even use this pink permanent rose that I told about just now, just as the one that I said about just now, it will work well even by itself without any sorry, I keep talking now and painting. Can't stop. So I'll leave this rose for now. So this rose, I didn't do background to tabletop because that can wait, it will not change. And then these 2 roses, they're more pink and more warm. They're still cool in the light because my window light was cool. At this point the sun keeps moving, so I'm waiting, trying to work fast before sun moves. So this has a lot of warmth, these 2 roses. They're pink warm roses. These are more like pink red, more like red alizarin color, and these more like a pink red with a lot of yellow and warmth in it. So that's how I pre-drafted, pre-primed and blocked my roses. So I'll continue working with them, trying as always not to overwork. So finishing with this brush. When I need it, I probably will use it still, because it worked quite well on this surface. So try to work with a softer brush now. So this is synthetic steel but soft, Sable Tech number 16, no, number 10 maybe. So doesn't matter. So it's a little bit smaller than that one. So I'll see how it goes. So I continue working on the first rose that I was working, trying to add more depth to it, but without overworking, using alizarin and permanent rose. So just not painting every petal either. So when needed, I add a touch of white just to emphasize the petals that in the light, but not too much. So like there is a ridge here, there is just a tiny bit of ridge here. So I'm working with the darker one on this side and where the light falls. I'm working with a slightly darker color, darker version of it. So the main thing is not to overwork it too much and don't lose the shadows. So kind of not working on each petal. Keep repeating the same thing I'm saying. Just very, very lightly touches, and also I'm looking at the silhouette of petals. So that rose at the back, I probably don't need to work too much on it, otherwise that rose will overpower what I have here. So really working just on the petals that seems to be making the shape of this rose. So many times with roses I overworked, and then you're kind of losing the overall shape of those roses, and I don't want to do that. So that's the back rose for now done. Maybe just a tiny bit of petals, just indication, because I can always add more. So now I'm working on the front roses. That's the most fun, I think, these roses, because for me it's fun because I don't know, will I be able to get the color right as I want to. So I'm adding cadmium yellow deep a little bit, cadmium red light, and that permanent rose. And I did two mixtures, one tiny bit lighter with more white in it, and one tiny bit darker. So starting to work on it with the lighter one first, trying to keep the original shape. So on the light it will be a little bit cooler, so I'm making sure I don't add yellow color to the light ones. And then I'm using the darker mixtures as well, the ones that I already mentioned, the one that in the shade, it's almost like grayish, sorry, not grayish, yellowish. And again, this cadmium yellow deep. Oh, sorry, I thought I didn't put my video on, but I did. So yes, I'm using these lighter versions, again trying to look where is cool and where is warm. So once you get understanding of that, I think it's very important, especially like with flowers, because it's all comes to figuring out cool and warm areas. So this rose comes in the turn to the light kind of halfway. So again, looking for most distinct petals, not just all of them. I really like this very nice warmth. I actually have orange as well, so I used a tiny bit of orange to warm up some areas. So really don't want to overwork this rose. That's why I'm trying to do like a lighter version of the warm color as well, and see if that works better. Because here, a little bit at the bottom, and then do lighter version of pink color that is cooler. So because the contrast of cool and warm should give the right contrast. So adding a little bit darker tones. This petal has lots of light in it. Just trying to experiment with cool, warm, and then I think I went too far with this rose, so once I do background I will paint around each rose and that will be easy. So the rose inside over there, rose inside. So as you can see, I did already some preliminary blocking, so now but at that time I wasn't very attentive. I was working quite fast just to get everything right, so now I'm paying more attention to this rose. So the front petal is very light here. So I'm doing this, and then there is another petal that just under it, the same. I said the main thing is be attentive and just enjoy it as well. Don't stress yourself about painting. I recently spent more time on my self-care and taking care of my health. That's why I didn't post for a while, but sometimes you have to spend more time on yourself so you could come back stronger and could do more. That's why I didn't really worry that I don't paint very much or don't record anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of take the same approach I did on this rose just now. Do a little bit cooler on this petals. Try not to go slightly cool and slightly lighter, because I think I need it. So softer brushes are very good for painting flowers. Recommend everyone try synthetic brushes. Oh, really want to define, so I have to put this green because this petal not quite the shape I wanted. So a little bit darker here. Okay, so just tiny bit of warmth I think I need on this one. And again, once I don't like to use the same brush when you don't want to contaminate, but because it's green and brown, so really this one should be okay. Just want to define this between these two petals. There are some greens here, and also there is a green leaf here, and not just green leaf, there is also like a little stem with a bud on it, so I really wanted to get it in, even though it's small. It will add some character, I think. So I'm just using viridian and some yellow to lighten a little bit the little bud that I have, rose bud. You can just see red there. Well, paint around it. So at this point I need to focus on this rose. So again, the petal here and here. So there is green and brown. Inside the greens are really warm. So if I squint, I just hardly see anything, hardly see petals, but I can see that this part is lit up as well, the same as the other ones, so just a little bit of light. Okay, so 3 more roses to go. So those are not the central roses, so I'm going to kind of just repeat what I was doing before. So I'm using a little bit of ultramarine and that permanent rose together to make that nice cool purple color, and a touch of white. So going through this rose first, and where I need to make it light, I am just adding tiny bit of white and more that permanent rose. I call permanent rose because I can't pronounce really that easy the name of the color. It's very interesting. Must be some kind of chemical they're using in it that gave it the name. There is lots of warmth in this rose as well. That's why I only use very sparingly this purple color. So I'll go back to my alizarin and re-emphasize some petals I did there. So when with a little lighter, I'd rather use warm colors rather than dark, or rather than cool. Very difficult to paint and talk. Plus that rose is not as well seen in the light. And the other thing, there is always kind of balance, and you have to be balancing between white and light. When you put white, you have to be careful. I noticed with me, sometimes if I put too much light, I lose the color, so that's something to be aware of. Just need to add a little ridge here, because some of them have ridges. And then I'll go back to this rose on the very bottom one. So there is like really dark color here that I'm adding, because there are petals go on that side. So all the way around, because it's kind of hanging here. I will add green and then it will be clear what shape this rose is. But for now, I need again go into that nice red color. So maybe I'll just use alizarin and white for this one. I'll see. Yeah, it looks like it's working for me. Really the lightest part is I'm adding a touch of cadmium red light and more white and alizarin, so just for the very top petal. The same here. And then I'll go with a dark color all around, just to make sure I didn't lose any shades that were here, any shapes, because it was dark here and dark here. So, okay, so just to finish that rose, it sounds strange, but yes, to finish with it, for now, I'm going to do a little bit of, because I can see it's very, very light over there. So there is stem, and then there's some little green bits coming off it, so I'll use more dark first, I guess, and then I'll use a lighter version. So I'm using yellow, cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow, transparent oxide red and viridian, and touch of white. And proportions I'm not sure. But it's not very bright color for sure. You can see it's on a duller side because the rose is in the dark. And I think the actual connection where the flower connects to a little bit brighter and lighter, but I just don't want to put too bright because it's a background rose. Maybe just the front one. So anyway, I think I will leave it for now because I think I have the same thing here. I have a lot of stem coming, and I have some green and lots of darker color. Sorry, I'm talking to myself now. So I'm using viridian and brown just to do a darker area here, and because it's already red I really don't need brown, I can just put pure viridian. So I've jumped to next rose, so I need to clean my fingers a little bit. And the good thing with roses, like they're so bright, it doesn't matter for me if I didn't do background. If I leave it completely like this, they kind of overpower everything. That's how they are, the roses. Very beautiful color, very beautiful flower with lots of character. Good thing we have them in abundance in summer, but they go so fast, especially when the weather is hot. That's why I thought it doesn't matter how I feel, I need to do something very fast, otherwise they will be gone. So I'm doing the lightest parts of this rose at the back right now, trying to see if I can do warm, and then at the same time there is a like a ridge coming here and a ridge coming there. So I'm using again the same mixtures, really, just no point even saying all over again what it is. It's the same permanent rose, alizarin, cadmium, red light. It's just depends what I see, how dark it is or how light it is. And then there will be some greens here anyway covering, so there is a light leaf of green coming. So I think I'm almost done with the roses. So I'm going to do a little bit of greens and then a little bit of covering around, and then normally it's a job back and forth, to go back and forth, have a look what you need to add on green side, on dark, on light side, on the pink. So there is one leaf here, again putting it dark for now. There will be some stems going over there as well. I painted a big leaf here that I'm going now to re-emphasize. So the leaves that in the very front, the one that obvious, I'm going to do like middle, just to show that it's a leaf, or like there is a leaf here. And again, the same as with the roses, to see where the light, where the dark. So I think this leaf has actually, the way it's bent, has more dark on that side and light on this side. Again, the same as with flowers, I will paint around them when the time comes later. Maybe some of them I'll change completely. I'm joking. So this kind of has a reddish color in it from the stem, and at this point I'll try to do the stem of this rose. I kind of messed a tiny bit here, not enough space for the stem now. And there is stem for this rose, and there is another leaf here. So that leaf, the other leaf, I'm going to make a little smaller, because there is no space for the leaf. That happens. No space for the leaf and no space for the stem either. So depending what is working, I didn't leave enough space, so I don't want to overwork the rose again. So I just correct the leaf and make it a tiny bit smaller. I really want to keep the stem though. There are some stems there. There is one very light leaf coming in the middle, so I'm going to kind of do the leaves that work the best in this case, so not all of them. So I'm mixing a little bit more right now, viridian and white and yellow, so I would have enough paint on the, and some of them are cooler, some of them are warmer, the leaves. Just trying to squint some of them lighter, some of them darker, so try to put, I'm trying to put variety. So this leaf is actually a little darker, a little lighter. Sorry what I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So the leaves that here, I think this one has more light in it. Trying to squint, and really the lightest leaves are just this leaf here. So even lighter. And some leaves here. Majority of them are very kind of neutral green color. So I'm not going to worry too much about that then. The main thing I need, I think, to do is this middle leaf. So doing the middle of it helps kind of to show where it is. There is only one little problem. There is one extra leaf here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually make everything smaller. And then I'll use background. So I'm going to do this leaf smaller. And later I'll do background. So actually I'm going to mix just a tiny bit of background color and go with it into the leaf. That will help. So my background color is something like that, something gray. Then I will do my leaf. Because soft brush is not the best brush to work on the background. I'll use that as a brush, but that at least gives me some idea where I am with my background as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this leaf and do background anyway. So this is a little bit darker than this one is covered by this, and this is this. Okay. So tiny bit of that red stem color, even on this, and a little bit of this on this leaf. It covers it. So I'm going to let paint set on the leaf and leave it for now. leaf, leave it for now. And I'm going to do just a tiny bit of bright while I see bright on the jar. So one light I put here, one light here. So it's all full of leaves. I hardly have any, actually, hardly any space in that jar, but at the bottom it's a little bit more greenish and bluish and dark, so just want to make sure I do the bottom first. And this gray color that from background comes a little bit on in the glass. That's it, not much. A little bit of reflection of the sky, obviously. But I don't know even where my highlight is, because that leaf covers everything. So I can just do indication of highlight on this bit. There is also a little strike, kind of a light comes through. So I think that could be enough. So I'm using my as a brush now. Synthetic still, but it's a stronger one, so that will be easier for me to use it for background. So I'm mixing lots of gray color now, using lots of white, blue, touch of brown. So we'll see. So start from here. So this one needs more brown because it's really warm area. So it's warm gray. And now I'll start carving around roses. And when I go too much on the rose and I think I lost the shape, I'll paint over it again. And I have to really see where the shadows of the rose as well. Now I see why background is good to do early as well, because you start painting over the roses straight away. It's a little bit different when you do it later, but that's okay. It's kind of paint gets thicker and it sets a little, so it's a little bit more difficult, but still doable. The paint is still wet. Just sometimes on this surface I think it sets a little bit faster. Anyway, I'll try my best not to lose my shadows and not to lose my shapes of roses. So there is a shadow going through here, and then there is a light going through here, because roses cast shadow on the material I have in the back. So kind of doing those little peekaboos. Those little areas between the leaves and the roses. I wish I would leave it white and don't have to paint, but unfortunately it will not be acceptable. It will look strange, even though you never know. So I'll try my best not to change the shape of the roses when I do background. Trying to squint, have more light color here, and then that shadow color comes into play again. When I mix it with a little bit of rose, it's actually okay. So some of the roses go off the canvas because I don't have enough space for them on my canvas. Could have taken a bigger canvas, but I decided that for demonstration purpose I'll use this one. So as you can see, I'm kind of smudging some roses, but that will not be a problem to fix it because I laid out all the main colors right now. Sometimes a bristle brush is better because it just slides and glides faster, but in this case it's okay. It's not a huge canvas, not a huge panel, I would say. And it also gives me idea already that actually it's okay for the, like there's more blue here. The combination of this blue and pink roses will look good, I think. So it's kind of looking general how it will look. So there is more coolness on this part. It comes from the window, but at the same time there is lots of like reflective light from pink into the white material that I have, so it's kind of a warm purple there, I would say. Not that warm, of course, but a little bit more kind of orangey purple, orangey warm. I even have to use medium today, just to go around these roses, to make it softer. Like I said, the paint stiffens on this one pretty fast. I'm going to add a little bit of blue and white to this as well. So maybe it's too thick, but I can always readjust and add a little bit more light to it. So okay, so I need to go through this one again. Luckily for me, I did already majority of job before the sun comes out, so I hope that I will not have to do too many modifications as well on this. So when I'm picking paint, that's okay. Really, it doesn't matter, because if there is a little bit of orange or pink in there, because there is lighter material and it absorbs lots of these colors, from green, from red, from pink. So I'm just trying to paint what I see, and then I'll go with a cleaner brush, a little bit cleaner brush, and maybe a little bit lighter where I need to put light. So I think there is some light passing here. All the way around the sleeve, and that's what I meant by carving around it. So I can just carve around the sleeve and keep going. So there is a little bit of pink was there when I was doing, but that's also okay. So like I said, it's work back and forth, looking for the lighter spots and looking for the darker spots, and then like in front here was actually a lot of shade on the material, so I'm going to do that as well. have problem with straight lights or straight lines for some reason. But of course, if I try to put a stick or something, it will be better, but I just can't be bothered right now. But it's a good tool, of course, if you do a serious painting and you need to have everything straight. And but I kind of like picturesque approach when it's a free-flowing paint, but of course I can do some adjustment on the jar with cleaner brush. Or maybe I should use a ruler. That will help me. I will double check my straight lines later, because it might be way out. And I don't want to spend time on this to focus on this, because I can see it's not quite straight. So you can see it's a little bit going out. Anyway, normally taking your eye off the canvas for a while and then come back helps. I think I may do that, and also turning it upside down. The thing is, with my jar, it's a little bit to the side, and that's why it creates confusion with this kind of rim going over there. There is another leaf actually going that way, so I guess if I do that leaf, that will help with confusion, because no one is going to check exactly how the leaves are going. But there is lots of light under this darker leaf, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do lighter under and then dark on top. But I'm not going to torture you watching this. How I'm doing this. This leaf going here. So tabletop, you've seen me many times that I'm doing tabletop with very often I have the same tabletop. It's normally I use yellow ochre or blue, brown, and always addition of white. This time, depending what time and what I see in it, so there's a tiny bit of blue in it this time, because my board is going grey and grey, the one that I'm using. So you can see kind of bluish tints in it. And then the cast shadow from the jar, all covered by petals today. I had lots of petals. I had to fix the roses and put some petals under, because I had roses that were falling to pieces as I was setting them up. So that's why I have loads of petals under the jar. But I don't think I will be doing all this in the video. light. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to take a softer brush and go through the contours that I just adjusted and see if I can fix those. And in the meantime, I'm also, as you can see, I can kind of adding these petals. There are lots of petals here. Some of them go on canvas even. So that's why they're covering my cast shadow, but there are cast shadows under the petals, so I'm using a little bit of alizarin, ultramarine, and transparent oxide red. And then on some petals there is the same as like the petals on the roses themselves. There are some ridges and the light areas and darker areas. And there are two petals in front of J as well. So I'm just using the same really colors. Not without overdoing it, of course. The same problem, not to overdo. And then I'll do tabletop. So I think that's kind of gives idea again what can be done about roses, how to do them in more impressionist way, not to go through each petal, not to worry about small shapes, worry about big shapes. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I managed to do it very long again somehow, even though. So I'll go around contours next and try to adjust, and you will see the final painting later. So happy painting everyone, and hopefully you have some roses, or someone can give you some roses from their garden. They're fun to paint. See you next time. Bye.